Jacob's creations, heart and soul, turning resin into gold, crafting wonders, work of art, a vision born from your own heart.
Hello, and welcome back. So, for today's project, I'm going to do another pyramid, and this one is going to be a little bit, because I want to do the full-size pyramid, but I don't have deep pour for this, so I'm going to be doing this in multiple layers. My inspiration for the project I'm about to do comes from Steve McDonald at Steve McDonald Arts and Crafts. The video I'm referring to, which I will link in my description, so you guys can go and check that out. But the video that I'm referring to is actually the reason that I bought the pyramid mold in the first place. And I finally have all of the stuff together to do it. So that is what I'm going to be working on today. So I gauged out what I need. I need to fill this up to this 6 mark here on the side. I don't know if you can see, but there's like measurements on the inside part here. So I need to fill up to at least the 6. I'm still kind of debating on what kind of color scheme that I want to do. The only thing I know for sure is, I don't know if you guys remember, because it was quite some time ago, but I had found this copper ribbon stuff, and I have measured and cut out some of that, and I want to do that around the base of the mold. So I was thinking that my bottom layer I wanted to be like some kind of a turquoise or something like that, because I really love how copper goes with turquoise. However, I'm not sure what I want to do for my top layer. I was kind of thinking about trying out my pearl white metallic alcohol ink, but I don't know if that's going to contrast too much with everything. I also don't want to do like a darker color, but I don't want to do like all these bluish green colors either, so I'm still kind of deciding on that, which is kind of rough because that's going to be the first part that I do. All I do know is that the very center part is going to be a clear, so yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with it right now. So I'm going to get some resin mixed up, kind of think on this a little bit more, and then I will be back when that is ready to be poured, and we'll see what I decide to do then. See you guys in a few. Alrighty, I am back. So before, well, yeah, okay. I decided for the top part, I'm going to use some blue, what is this? It's just a decorative filler. It's like blue crushed glass. So I poured in and measured out up to the 6 mark line, and then I'm just going to coat this in resin. So that's kind of what I'm working with here. So the first thing I'm going to do, because I want to make sure I don't have a bubble on my point, is get some resin in there, put my little tool down there, make sure that's filled. See that bubble just popped? I don't know if you can or not, but it did. I don't know, kind of. I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna take some of my azure blue. I'm just gonna add one drop. Hopefully one singular drop. I think that looks good. And then just want to make sure that this layer is on, goes in smooth here. I don't want that there. Okay. And then I just want to double check. Yep, I'm at the 6. Yeah, we're good. I don't know, I feel like there's still a bubble in that. Okay, so that is all for this layer. I'm going to set this aside, let it cure, and then I will be back when it's time to do the next one. I will see you guys then. Alrighty guys, so the first layer of my pyramid is cured, and I'm ready to do my second. So like I said, for this layer, I'm doing clear. And what I'm doing is I'm going to make a shaker, essentially, out of this pyramid. So I have one of my sphere molds, and how Daniel did this is he took one of these, because these have this bump on the bottom here to like hold it flat. So what he did was he just took it and turned it inside out, because the inside has more of that round shape. I didn't use this one though, because this one's really thick and it has a dent in it still. So I went with my next size up. And then to keep it from compressing on itself with the resin or anything, he filled it up with sand. And then, so I did the same thing. I have multiple times now gone over and wiped this off with a wipe to make sure there's nothing on it. So then I'm just going to place that in there, making sure I got plenty of room around, and just want to make sure that this is nice and centered here. Alrighty. And then, so I'm doing this one clear because I want to be able to see the shaker part in the center. And then I'm just going to go ahead and pour my clear in around it. I'm not worried about pouring this one deep because that's going to take up a lot of room. And I'm hoping I made enough to get it. And I'm probably going to have to do another layer. So I am going to have to do another thin layer too, because I want it up. I don't want it right to the lip, but I want it probably about here. So, but for this layer, I don't want to go any deeper than what I already am. Like I said, that sphere with the sand in it's going to take up a lot of space, but this isn't deep core resin, so I do still want to make sure that I'm not flash curing. Man, that made a lot of bubbles. It looks like they're coming up though. So yeah, I'll let this cure, and then I'll probably do this next layer of the clear off camera. But that is all for now. I will be back once this is all set for the final, well, for the next layer. Yeah, I'll see you guys then. Alrighty guys, so resin is all cured. I did go ahead and pour a second layer in there to get it even with that. And now it is time to dump this out, get the sand out of there, and get the mold out. So, let's go. Okay. Let's see. Nice. And there we go. It was actually easier getting that out than I thought it was going to be. Okay, so now we have our nice little sphere spot in there. So the next thing I'm going to do is grab a wipe. and I'm just going to wipe this off just to make sure that there's no sand or anything in there, because definitely do not want that. So then it's time to go ahead and get it filled up here. So I have a little concoction that I mixed up here just with some bead stuff. So I have some of this blue ribbon glitter. I threw in some of this copperish colored glitter. And then I had a bead mixture with like some silver beads and some roses and stuff in there. And then I had it somewhere around here. Oh. I threw in some of my round sequins and some of these beads as well. So I just have that all mixed in here. So I'm going to go ahead and dump that in. Okay. Then I have my vegetable glycerin. So I am going to try and mix this in with some water because it seemed to work better. But I'm just going to carefully pour this in and fill it up. But I'm going to try and do this with the cup to measure it because I believe this is like a 2-to-3 ratio or 2-to-1 ratio for the water. Okay. So then I'm going to use one of these so it's more controlled. And because it has a better spout. And then I'm going to pour in some water. And then before I finish filling it the rest of the way, I'm just going to take my scoop here and I'm going to try and kind of mix that up a little. With that water. Okay. this down.
Dad, can I play outside?
Okay, so then to seal this, I just have a little square of some clear plastic. This is actually from the back of a pet sticker. And apparently I filled this up too much. So outside of that, I just got to go through here and wipe this down a little bit, because I'm going to use some UV resin to seal this. And if there's oil or anything on there, it's not going to adhere. Okay. So how I'm going to do this is I'm just going to take my little tool here and I'm going to just put a thin layer around the outer edge of my circle here. Just like so. And then place this over it. Give it a nice little press. Don't want to slide it, but just give it a nice little press. And then I will grab my UV lamp. And I'm just going to set it over the top of this and give it a quick cure. Okay, so just to make sure that I'm not going to have any leaks or anything, I'm also going to go around the outer edge. Okay, and then give that a cure. Okay. So there we go. Got that nice little bubble in there to help move things around. So once this is done, I'm really going to shake this up because I also want to make sure that that water mixes in, because I don't think it's fully mixed yet. Yeah, that's not really fully mixed up in there, so. Anyways, so while my resin is finishing debubbling, I'm going to go ahead and get these placed in. I kind of messed up on this one. I should have already put these in when I finished that clear layer, but it's alright. I'll make it work. So I'm just going to kind of press this in. Get it in place. And then once I get the resin in, I'll go in with the popsicle stick and make sure that it all gets flattened and stays where I want it. Because I'm going to have to do a couple different layers to finish filling this. But I think it's actually kind of a happy mistake, because I think it's pretty neat how it's going to sit there. It's going to kind of look like a shelf. I don't know. We'll see how it turns out. Alright. Yeah, I'm not going to use that one. Okay, let me just hit this with the heat gun. Get rid of those little bubbles at the top there. Alrighty. So I'm probably going to have to do about 3 to 4 layers with my turquoise to finish filling it. I'm not sure if I want to do... I might do a base color. I'm not 100% sure. So, yeah. I will leave this to cure, and then I will be back when it's done and ready to do the next one. And then we'll decide what I'm going to do after that. I will see you guys then. Hey guys, so I'm ready to pour. I'm hoping will be the last layer of my pyramid here. I'm going to try something different on this one. So I have some white resin mixed up. I just used my ocean white pigment paste to make it. And I'm going to try and just add some turquoise to that. I'm not going to completely mix this. I'm just going to like dip and swirl it in. My hope is to kind of get it to like sort of streak through the white but not mix into it. And before I start pouring, I'm also going to add a few drops of the color as well. And then pour it in. Okay. Alrighty, so that is all for that. I will leave that to cure, and then it'll be time to take it out. See how it looks. I will see you guys back then. Alright, everyone, so the pyramid is cured, and it's time to take it out and see how it looks. So the first thing I noticed right away is some parts of my ribbon ended up floating up and getting encased in the resin, which I didn't really want, but it is what it is. Other than that, I think it all turned out pretty good. I do think that I made my solution too thick in there. Either that or I have too big of a bubble. But from it sitting upside down, all my stuff kind of got stuck on the top. And it's not really flowing the way I wanted it to. But it is moving around in there. So other than that, I just got a little bit to trim up on the bottom, and that will be that. Overall, I think this turned out to be a nice piece. I like how the coloring and everything turned out. For the base, I did like the white, and then I just swirled some turquoise into it. So I think that turned out pretty neat. Overall, I'm relatively happy with how this came out. Alright, so like I said, I got this idea from Steve McDonald over at Steve McDonald Arts and Crafts, and I wanted to try it out for myself. And like I said, I think the biggest thing is I didn't put enough water in with my glycerin mix to, like, it's too thick. So I think it also doesn't help that everything kind of settled at the top from it sitting in the mold. But overall, turned out pretty nice, I think. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Feel free to like and share. If you haven't subscribed already, please do. That is all for now. I will see you guys back for the next project. In the meantime, remember, stay creative, everyone. Bye.